ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa has warned that those who see the party as a path to wealth, power and influence need to change their ways or leave the party. In a letter to ANC members, Ramaphosa has conceded that the governing party is deeply implicated in the country's corruption problems. He has urged members facing corruption allegations to insulate the ANC from reputational damage by stepping aside while their cases are being heard. This comes as the party faces severe criticism of redeploying former eThekwini Mayor Zandile Gumede to the provincial legislature in KwaZulu-Natal. Gumede is out on bail of 50,000 rand for her alleged role in a Durban solid waste tender scandal. So President Cyril Ramaphosa saying the governing party hangs its head in shame amid those corruption allegations leveled against its officials and members. In a letter to the ANC that I've just described, he says that COVID-19 corruption is an unforgivable betrayal for the millions of South Africans who have been negatively impacted by the pandemic. Ramaphosa said at its last meeting at the beginning of this month, the ANC-NEC acknowledged the public outrage caused by recent reports of corruption. Joining us now to discuss this letter, its contents and ramifications, Professor of Political Science at the University of Johannesburg, Mcebisi Ndletyana. Very good evening to you, Professor. Thank you so much for speaking to us. I'm just wondering if the tone strikes the right note, especially for the public. This is a letter to ANC members, but for the public, does it relay much remorse? Regret, yes, but remorse and intent to act on it? Because for a lot of people, this has been what is worrying. It's one thing to acknowledge that a lot of your members have been implicated and to say they must step aside when their cases are being heard. But is it enough? Because I'm sure there are those that we don't know about.
Well, Tsepiso, it's good that the president sounds remorseful. It's always a good thing to hear. But the ANC has been a master of speaking with a forked tongue, saying one thing and doing quite another completely. And so there is very little that the ANC has been doing in the last 15 years or so to inspire confidence in what they say. In fact, the president does say in his letter, in the same letter, that the ANC has not followed its own words with proper deeds, right? That their deeds have not matched their words. So I'm not quite confident that the ANC as an organization can act on such things, especially because that's this weekend, or rather a few days ago, the same ANC in KZN is the one that has just appointed Zandile Gumede as an NPL. When she has been charged, she has a case, she's going in and out of court. And yet, the KZN leadership actually has been talking quite a good game. The secretary Ntuli has been saying all kind of nice things about ethical leadership and circulating all these videos. We've been inundated with videos, sermons about ethical leadership. And yet the same leadership appoints someone like Zandile Gumede as an NPL. So that tells you they say one thing and do something else altogether.
And I wonder what it says about his own personal brand, these allegations, Professor Ndletyana, because he does bring up the 54th elective Congress of the ANC, and he came in on a ticket of not only ridding South Africa of corruption and unethical leadership, but almost presented by his supporters as somebody whose slate was clean, who himself would remain as so. But we know the kind of allegations that have been leveled against him. So it's often said that the fish rots from the head. So what he's written, what he has done, and what he is doing, including what he's been accused of, lack of transparency on COVID-19 decisions. Is he failing to convince South Africans that he is the person that should lead us out of this quagmire?
He hasn't completely failed, but he is failing to display courage. There is a sense that the ANC is not completely behind him. And he is now saying all sorts of things, promising things that we know previously the ANC has not been able to deliver on. I don't know why you keep on doing that, because, I mean, you know, the last 3 or so years since it became a leader of the ANC, we have seen that nothing he says about changing the ANC as an organization happened. What he should focus on, which he has started doing a little bit, is focusing on government, cleaning up government. There has been a couple of changes, good changes. All it needs to do is the institutions that are set up to investigate corruption, all sorts of corruption, and most importantly, to make sure that we have capacity within all these institutions, and secondly, to provide witness protection. Because there is going to be a lot of intimidation in this thing, and people are going to be killed. So if the president, for me, you know, something that is realistic, right? And that which is realistic is within the state. There he has complete power. He can control things. He has dedicated ministers such as Ronald Lamola, for instance, Senzo Mchunu, and a whole lot of others. There he doesn't have to face all sorts of road characters who will challenge his powers. In government, he's completely in charge. So he should focus on that. Stop talking. Don't promise things that you know you won't deliver on. Just provide protection, provide services, and very soon there will be results. But don't tell us that you will change the ANC. That is
I want to ask this question before we're out of time, Professor Ndletyana. He speaks about the resolutions taken by that conference on how to insulate the governing party from this. But has it taken any active steps, for instance, for having a policy that says politically connected people, whether in the party or outside of it, cannot be involved in tender processes? Does it have a plan in place for politically exposed persons, for regulations and doing due diligence, the application thereof? Has there been any move to take some of these actions?
Well, we know that the Secretary General of the ANC is opposed to that idea. He was on record a few days ago saying that ANC, kids of ANC leaders or even spouses should not be barred from doing business with the state. He doesn't think there's anything wrong with that. So certainly the president is going to face a lot of resistance within the ANC when he tries to do that. We know that the ANC has been saying there must be lifestyle audits into lives of ANC leaders, public representatives. And he repeats that in the same letter. That thing has been said for the last 3 years. Nothing happened. They have been saying that the recommendations of the Integrity Commission should be binding. They have been saying that for the last 5 years. Nothing has happened. So as I say, it's a piece of, don't really believe what the ANC say. Only believe them when they do something. What they say, that's what they are good at. They promise. They talk a big game. One can only believe these things when they happen. But I have more faith that from the government side, things are shifting. It is in the ANC as a party where there is a much.
Okay, we're going to have to leave it there. Unfortunately, the technology is failing us as well. Professor of Political Science at the University of Johannesburg, Mcebisi Ndletyana. We do apologize for those breaks in transmission. Time now for sport.